What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the WrestleGasm YouTube channel, where today we are here with episode 16 of my 0000 challenge in TEW 9 Fusion Pro Wrestling. Now, we're starting on this screen. There's nothing really to show you on this screen. I just wanted a kind of impartial screen because a couple things to touch on just before we get into the first show. So I thought this screen doesn't really spoil anything. So if you want to look at the finances, now's your time to do so. But yeah, just a couple things to go over. Firstly, I think this episode we're going to try and get to the 3rd anniversary show. Whether we make it there or not, I don't know, because there's 2 shows before that. But depending on how things play out, I might put a 3rd show before the anniversary show. If I do that, then I'll do the anniversary in the next episode. Either way, I had a huge storyline planned for this show, but it involved someone signing with FPW, but they took a little bit too long signing, and so I've had to scrap an entire storyline. So that's unfortunate, but it is what it is. I'm still very happy with the storylines we have moving forward. But the big bit of news I want to get out of the way early is after this episode, maybe the next episode, depends. If the anniversary show is in this episode, it'll be after this one. If episode 17 has the anniversary, it'll be after that one. Either way, after the anniversary show, I'm putting FPW on a little bit of a break. Not to say it's going away fully, just a bit of a break, because as you can probably tell by my upload consistency, I'm very busy. I'm a lot busier nowadays than I was at the start of the year when I started this series, particularly during the month of May. It's like during May, I'm doing a new work program. I am in the middle of moving, which that could take more than just May for all I know. And then it's also my birthday at the end of the month. It's my partner's birthday at the end of the month. So it's just a jam-packed month. So I know I'm not going to be able to upload as consistently as I want to, unfortunately. So yeah, a little bit of a break. That being said, like I said before, I'm not putting it away fully. FPW is going to stay around. I don't know how long I'll be going for. I just need to divert some attention to IRL responsibilities as opposed to content creation. That's all it is. And when I come back, I'm absolutely bringing FPW back, but I would also like to start a new series, something fresh to get you guys invested. Something that, because one of my favorite things about FPW is the interaction. You guys commenting to say, give me tips, give me ideas, say who you want to see more of, say who you don't want to see. I love getting you guys involved. So when I come back from break, we might start a new series that hopefully, is something you guys want to see. So with that in mind, tell me what you guys want to see. I'm fully open to any idea. I tend to just stick to the real world mods, not like the C-verse or anything like that. So yeah, I'm open to ideas. Anyways, that is about it. We're going to go ahead and jump into this episode. Like I said, I'm very excited for this one. I'm very happy with the storyline. So I'm going to stop yapping and we're going to jump into it. All right, so this is FPW Live number 37. We have a sold out crowd of 650 people at the Brown Grand Theater. That is our highest attendance by quite a bit. I think the Ultimate 8 series shows were 500, if I'm not mistaken. Anyways, we start with a pre-show bout that had little heat and embarrassing wrestling. Travis Thomas and Andre Combs defeated Josh Cody and Dante Leon in 6:02, when Andre Combs pinned Dante Leon with a KO smash. So this is the first time I've ever done a pre-show match in FPW, because I didn't feel like there was much of a need for it given our current setup. However, the reason I did a pre-show match this time around is because these two guys, Travis Thomas and Andre Combs, I've talked about them before in the series. They are rookies generated in the game, so the game created them, which is why they have such low stats to begin with. And they've been around for like a year, 2 years, whatever the case may be, but just haven't been getting booked, so they have ring rust as well. But because the game generated them, they actually have really good booking skills. So it's a little bit, I don't know, it's not a cheat because I'm not using cheats or anything. The game has provided it for me, but I've signed them with the intention of putting them on the booking team. but they are wrestlers. So I want to try and use them as wrestlers if I can to make it legitimate, but I need to put in a lot of work to make that happen. So for now, I'm just giving them a pre-show. We'll probably give them a few pre-show matches, shake off that rust, and then kind of see where they're at on a performance level. As for Josh Cody and Dante Leon, they're just local workers. Josh Cody is the one that I, for whatever reason, keep getting comments to bring him back. So he's back to put over our booking jobbers. So the official show opens with the arrival of a surprising guest in FPW. It's none other than former WWE, TNA, and NWA star The Pope, Elijah Burke. He says that he has signed on to become the new commentator for all FPW events. Fusion Pro produces greatness, but he's not just here to talk about greatness, he's here to define it every time he opens his mouth. Every match you see, every moment you witness, you're going to hear it through the voice of a man who has been there, done that, and elevated everything he's touched. And whether you love it or hate it, you will respect it. Burke exits the ring to officially join Todd Kennelly on the announce table. I just thought it'd be a cool little segment. I don't know, it has no ramifications or anything. It's just, I've signed Elijah Burke to join the commentary team because we're overdue for a new commentator to join Todd Kennelly. And I thought, why not have him introduce himself? You know, most people will know who Elijah Burke is. I still instinctively go to call him D'Angelo De Niro, but most people will know who he is. And yeah, he's here in FPW now. In about that had good heat and decent wrestling, Promise Braxton defeated Vipers in 922 by pinfall. These guys have fought before, but it's been, I think, 11 months since their last encounter. This is purely a momentum-based match. I've been watching a lot more Vipers matches since like the last episode, so I definitely would like to do something with her in the near future, but I don't currently have any plans with her leading into the 3rd anniversary show. And about that had good heat and decent wrestling. Paul London and Cal Jack defeated TNT in 8:58 when Cal Jack pinned Terrence Hughes. So this one does have a couple of notes going for it. Firstly, for those who may not remember from previous episodes, I've talked about I don't like to do backstage segments because FPW isn't a TV show where we would benefit from backstage segments. It is purely a once a month live event. So I don't think backstage segments are worth it. But I tend to say, oh, there might be a video that was put out online throughout the month, and that propels a storyline forward. And that is kind of the case here. So a couple of things that will have kind of arisen since the last show. One, the FPW board are not overly confident in the tag team division at the moment. And the main reason for that is, and this is kind of my own fault, none of the tag teams have been booked to have a decent enough win-loss record or momentum to be credible contenders against the Dawsons Tag Team Championships. So the tag team division is kind of in a position of, it's a good division in terms of there's a good wealth of teams. Like, it's a very decent sized division, but there's no clear, like for the world title, you could say, okay, these group of people could easily contend for the championship. It would make sense. The tag team division, not so much. You look at the best teams like the Von Erichs, they've been given opportunities and they lose, and they keep losing non-opportunity matches as well. Alpha Zoe and Trey Lamar as well. TNT are kind of bottom of the barrel in terms of performance. You know, Dolce Tormenta and Radar, all these teams, just there's no clear standouts. So Paul London and Cal Jack, who are an alliance, but it's usually Cal Jack going solo and London managing him, they're going to try and capitalize on that opportunity and see if they can fit themselves into the tag team division, as well as the fact Cal Jack, in the previous episode during the Ultimate 8 Series tournament, made it to the semifinals, but then lost to, I think it was John Skyler, the winner, suffering his first kind of defeat since going under the mentorship of Paul London. So now Paul's like, okay, that was a massive roadblock. We need to fix this. And so Paul's kind of stepping in and he's like, let's try this avenue. Let's see if this works for us. Not just, because we're trying to capitalize on this tag team situation, but because you need something new. You failed. The Ultimate 8 was yours and you failed. So let's try this instead. So that's the situation here. The world champion Stephen Wolf comes out to the ring to address the Ultimate 8 Series winner. He says that throughout his 400+ day reign, he's seen hungry, desperate challenges come and go. But John Skyler is different. Not because he's bigger or stronger, but because he's patient. Most challenges come at him like wolves, no pun intended, but Skyler came at him like a hunter by winning the Ultimate 8 Series, much like he had done the year prior. Skyler then comes out and says that him winning the Ultimate 8 isn't something for Wolf to analyze and deconstruct. It's as simple as him kicking the asses of a bunch of wannabe champions. But that's not the case anymore. Fighting Stephen Wolf is a different ballgame. So he proposes not just one match, but a best of 3. 3 chances for them to see who's the better man. 3 chances for Skyler to prove that the world title means nothing around Wolf's waist. Or 3 chances for Wolf to send Skyler packing and humiliate him even worse than James Storm did. Wolf looks really hesitant, not wanting to run the gauntlet, but the FPW crowd are eating it up, excited about the concept. They want to see these two fight like crazy. After his words over the past year about wanting to prove himself as a fighting champion, Wolf can't back down now. He accepts. The first match in the series is set for tonight's main event. So it's official, it's going to be a best of 3 series between John Skyler and Stephen Wolf. Instead of just one match. Honestly, the reason I did this is I just felt like it was a really interesting concept. I always love the idea of a best of 3 series, even like best of 5, anything like that, but I feel like you're kind of doing a bit overkill if you go too heavy with the match count. But I love a good best of 3 series. The championship, I'll put it this way. It's not going to be whoever gets the most wins out of the 3 matches is the champion. It's going to be all 3 matches have the championship on the line. The main reason for that is because you just can't really set it up in TEW to be like most wins out of the series gets it. You could set it up as an angle, as like a title change in an angle, but I don't know. I prefer this method where the title's online in all 3 matches. In a superb match, Marshall Von Erich defeated Alpha Zoe in 10-14 by submission with an iron claw. Gets a 47 segment rating. Too short of a match, that's, totally understandable. Alpha Zoe's gimmick is getting stale. That's something I can tend to as long as I remember to do it. Not a lot to say there, just a kind of momentum-based match. In a bout that had good heat and decent wrestling, Johnnie Robbie defeated Guillermo Rosas in 9:51 by pinfall. Gets a 40 segment rating. I'm pretty happy with that. And that leads us into a segment. Johnny seems somewhat emotional after winning her match. She takes the microphone and expresses that this has been a roller coaster of a year for her in FPW. She defeated Zeta Zhang in a huge upset win at the 2nd anniversary and was handpicked as a contender for the world title. But after losing that title shot, she's been on a losing streak and her bookings have been less frequent. So to pick up a win tonight is a validating feeling for her. The emotional moment is interrupted by the Renegade twins. They say that Johnny's rise was a flash in the pan and that she got exposed at the highest level. Now everyone knows how weak of a wrestler she truly is, while the board overlooked true talent like the Renegades, all because they refused to risk their tag team champions losing to women. Obviously this is them kind of, exaggerating the scenario. They've been in contendership matches and lost. So this is just kind of their heel perspective. Zeta Zhang then joins the fray. She says that Johnny beat her fair and square at the last anniversary event, so she knows how one of a kind she truly is. And for Charlotte and Robin to come out here and dismiss her talent all because they want to get their 30 seconds of spotlight is pathetic. So if they truly believe what they're saying, they should prove it by getting in the ring with her, or better yet, get in the ring with the both of them. The Renegades look like they're about to accept the challenge, but back off at the last second, leaving Zeta and Johnny hanging. As the Renegades flee, Johnny shakes Zeta's hand, thanking her for the words of support, proud to have the seal of approval from one of the pillars of FPW. So I did kind of expect this would be a weaker segment, because none of these guys are great at promos, but that's totally fine. I think it's kind of clear that the end goal of this little storyline is Johnnie Robbie and Zeta Zhang versus the Renegade Twins. I was just kind of recapping on FPW and the opportunities we could have moving forward. And this just kind of stood out to me as when I was looking at the second anniversary event and I was remembering the Johnnie Robbie Zeta Zhang match. This just kind of felt like a natural branch that could come from it. Yeah, that's basically what this is. In a bout that had great wrestling and good heat, the tag team champions of the Dawson brothers defeated Ryan Davidson and Ruben Steele in 11:41 when Zane Dawson pinned Ryan Davidson. 49 segment rating is awesome. You'll love to see it. Great chemistry from Davidson and Steele. No notes about chemistry or tag team expertise or anything with the Dawsons, but I don't remember if we usually get that or not. I don't think we do. I'm not too upset about that. But that does take us into this segment. Devon comes out and acknowledges that while FPW's tag division is vast, no team has been able to keep up with the Dawsons. None of them have the win-loss record or the momentum to be credible challengers. So instead of going through the redundant task of crowning a contender, there will instead be a 4-way tag team match for the tag titles at the anniversary show. The Dawsons don't seem too upset about this, but it's because they have a trick up their sleeve. The hype for this announcement is cut short by the unexpected debut of Jimmy Jacobs. He comes out to the ring and says that this is the problem with the people in power. They think that because they booked the building, they own the men inside it. He holds up a folder he brought with him containing the Dawsons' contracts. He references a specific clause in the contract stating that any scheduled title defense involving the tag team champions must be agreed upon by their acting representative. The Dawsons haven't had a rep, so the FPW board could just take advantage of them, but that's all changing. Jimmy Jacobs is officially the new representative and manager of the Dawson brothers. He tells Devon that if the board really want to make this match happen, they have to renegotiate. They've got to line the pockets of Dave and Zane Dawson if they want to see these tag titles defended again. Jimmy tells Devon to call him when he's ready to do business, but for now, the Dawsons leave the ring victorious with Jimmy Jacobs by their side. So Jimmy Jacobs is here. He is officially the manager of the Dawsons. Now, Jimmy Jacobs is someone that I've been a fan of for quite a long time. I know him largely from his Ring of Honor days. Like, you could look at things like the Age of the Fall or whatnot, and he's, maybe a bit more twisted, but he's not always like that. The way I'm envisioning him is more like when he was in the Decade. If you remember the Decade stable from Ring of Honor, that's kind of when I first really got invested in Ring of Honor. That's what he was doing at the time. He was teaming with like Roderick Strong and Adam Page and I think BJ Whitmer. And so that's what I remember him mostly. And so he's kind of going to be that. He's a heel, essentially. He's tactical. He's an opportunist. But it's not really going to go into the kind of occult kind of stuff that he is sometimes known for. So I signed him because I wanted the Dawsons to have a mouthpiece. I wanted them to have a manager, because they don't have great promo skills, nor do they need to. They speak with their actions, but a manager for them would be great. And Jimmy is a great talker. He has a great booking skill. So yeah, that is what we're doing with Jimmy Jacobs. In a good match, Sonico defeated Radar in 13:06 by pinfall with an EMF. 46.7 rating, that is awesome. Now, this is a very special match because Radar has just signed an exclusive contract with AEW to join Ring of Honor as a developmental talent. So he is officially leaving FPW. Now, I know he hasn't done anything crazy in FPW, but he is a long-time member. Not a great performer. So, not a terrible loss, but still, like I said, he's been trustworthy. He's, like I said, long-time member. So I wanted to give him a kind of special match to kind of head out. Dolce Tormenta, his tag team partner, I assigned to be at ringside for this match. So she would be there kind of celebrating with him, even though he lost, but celebrating his like send-off. It was funny though, because before the show, in like the backstage incident stuff, there was 3 different arguments that happened, all very random combinations. But one of them was Dolce and Radar, which was it because the tag team partners and have been for like 2 years, something like that in the game. So I just my headcanon for that argument is just an emotional situation because Radar's leaving, but they're still tag partners. They still love each other, And Sonico, I decided to be the opponent because I wanted Radar to have a good match to send off. So if I gave the match with Dolce Tormenta, admittedly, it wouldn't have been very good. Sonico has always been one of the best, so I was like, you know what? Let's go for it. Anyways, it is time for the main event. It is the first match in the best of 3 series between John Skyler and Stephen Wolf, World Championship on the line. Here we go. In a bout that had fantastic heat and great wrestling, John Skyler defeated Stephen Wolf in 15-11 by pinfall with a handful of tights. John Skyler is the new world champion. A 53 rated segment. That's only 2 points behind. I think that's 2 points behind our best match. I know our best show was 55. I don't remember what the best match was. I think it was also 55, but I could be totally wrong. We have a new world champion, and this was something that I realized was a possibility when I planned the best of 3. Was we can kind of hot potato the title a little bit during this best of 3 and have it make sense. Whether we will do that or not, we'll have to wait and see. But John Skyler is at least the champion for now. I was a little worried though, because I think the product for FPW is like respectful wrestling or something like that. So to have these tainted wins like a handful of tights might diminish the outcome a little bit. In fact, let me have a look at the dirt sheet, see if it says anything about that. No, nothing about it being a tainted win. But that's something that's definitely going to play a part, that John Skyler did not get a clean win. That's definitely going to be a relevant aspect of this story. Anyways, we closed the show with a 49 overall rating. Pretty happy with that. Doesn't quite come close to the 55s that we got throughout the Ultimate 8. The show benefited from having quite a wide selection of angles. Okay, interesting. I'll have to keep that in mind. Increased our pop in 18 regions. Address the locker room. Okay, so I don't remember if there's anyone upset, so I don't have to worry about that. I think I wanna praise John Skyler because he put on a great performance there, and I'm gonna send Radar out with a praise. I think that just feels right. Because admittedly, I think Radar got a 37 in that match, something like that. By his standards, that's amazing. So yeah, awesome stuff. Financial report. We made money from an event. Wait, do we usually make money? I think we usually lose money, do we not? But a 1577 is awesome stuff. 5,200 ticket sales. It was funny because I nearly went with a 600 seat venue instead of a 650 because that venue, the 600 one, had a 75% importance rating. I think it was the one where they did the Wrestle Circus events. But I was like, no, I want to get more seats in there and get more cash. And so that's what I did. And thank God I did. Pop recap went up in quite a few spots, jumped 1 spot in Mid-South. So I'm trying to monitor what our pop is going to be throughout this episode. Because if I'm not mistaken, assuming we don't screw up and fail to gain a point of pop during an event, we're going to get to small size. Either if our next event jumps up 2 points, which it sometimes does, then the anniversary show will be the first show at small size. If not, it'll be the one after the anniversary. So that's just something I'm going to try and keep my eye on throughout this episode. Either way, that does it for this show. I'm going to head back to the main screen. As per usual, if there's anything important, I will show you guys. If not, then I'll see you guys at the next show. Okay, so we are back with FPW Live 38. We are once again at the Brown Grand Theater for 650 people. We'll probably be at the Brown Grand Theater for a while because I was looking, there doesn't seem to be a like 700, 800 seat venue in the Mid-South. So we could do generic venue, but for now, we're sticking to the Brown Grand Theater. We started off with a pre-show bout that didn't have much heat and terrible wrestling. Travis Thomas and Andre Combs defeated JD Griffey and Damian Drake in 6:29 when Andre Combs pinned JD Griffey with a KO smash. Same thing as the last pre-show match. I just want to get Thomas and Combs some matches to take off the ring rust and then see what we can do with them from there. I know even once the rust is gone, they're still not going to be very good, but I want them for their booking skills. So again, just seeing what we can do with them. Onto the main show now. We start with a bout that had great wrestling and good heat. Paul London and Cal Jack defeated Alpha Zoe and Trey Lamar in 10:42 when Cal Jack pinned Alpha Zoe. 46 segment rating is awesome. So this is just me wanting to continue the idea of Paul London and Cal Jack trying to capitalize on the tag team division kind of vacancy, I guess. But also Paul London, as you guys may remember a couple episodes ago, was very pissed off that we signed Bully Ray for a little bit. I was too, to be fair, even though it was my decision. So he had a bad morale for a while, so we had to keep praising him. And then it worked, and we got him into a good morale. But I guess that's worn off because he's gone back to being sour, and it's just because of Bully Ray. And honestly, fair, fuck Bully Ray. So I wanted to put him on the show so we have the opportunity to try and boost his morale a bit if we can. In a good match, Exodus Prime defeated Ace Perry in 8:33 by a pinfall. Exodus Prime is someone who keeps kind of falling by the wayside in terms of our booking, largely because he's just, as you can tell by that performance rating, not the best performer on the roster, not by a long shot. But he is the tag team partner of Stephen Wolf, who is currently in the World Championship picture. So, you know, I'd like to try and do a bit more with him if I can. But it's a good note that they have good chemistry. That is awesome to see. James Storm returns to FPW for the first time since hanging up the boots. He says that thanks to the support of the FPW faithful during his tenure here, he and the FPW board have come to an agreement that will see him joining the board effective immediately. He's going to join the likes of Devon in ensuring that FPW continues to deliver the best quality product that it possibly can. And as a special treat, he's been given the reins to book a very special match for the 3rd anniversary show. Storm announces the Cowboy Cup Battle Royal. This isn't for some crazy trophy or a guaranteed title shot. This is just James Storm handpicking the best of the best to compete in an over-the-top battle royal where everyone has the opportunity to prove what they're worth during the biggest night on the FPW calendar. And there may even be some very special guests in the match. So everyone competing tonight should make sure to put on the best show they can to try and earn themselves a spot in the Cowboy Cup. So as I said, as I wrote, I guess, in this segment, it's just a showcase battle royal. It's called the Cowboy Cup, but it's not really a trophy or a cup or anything. It is just a showcase match. It's kind of, I would compare it to the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal in terms of what it means to FPW, but even the Andre is a full-on trophy, and essentially it's going to be an annual battle royal but for showcase purposes is what I'm getting at. I will also say, because this is slightly related, there was someone I missed out on signing. I was going to sign Nick Wayne to the FPW roster, and the reason is he got an injury in the game that kept him out for so long, like a year, 2 years, whatever the case was. And his popularity drained because of it, to the point that he was very affordable for us. So I was like, okay, he's affordable for us. His injury is ending pretty soon. So once his injury is over, I'm going to sign him. And the reason it's relative to this is because I was going to debut him in the Battle Royal. But before I could sign him, once his injury was over, he started getting booked by AEW again. And his popularity went up and his price like doubled. And now AEW has just offered him an exclusive contract. So that's out of the window. But yeah, it is what it is. In a good match, Rachel Rose defeated Lowrider in 8:55 by submission. This is just a momentum-based thing. Although I will say I don't think Rachel Rose is going to stay on the roster for much longer. Admittedly, there are worse performers than her. She is towards the bottom, but there are worse performers than her. But Rachel Rose, I just never know what I want to do with her. I was a fan of her in Deadlock Pro, but I don't know how I want to book Rachel Rose at all. So she might get the cut sooner or later. But for now, she needs some momentum, so she got the win over Lowrider. In a good match, the Dawson brothers defeated TNT in 10-11 when Zane Dawson submitted Terrell Hughes. 48 segment rating is good. I'm immediately drawn to Dave Dawson and Jimmy Jacobs are an awkward pairing. So when I started planning this storyline, this was something that had crossed my mind that this could happen. And I was very worried that it would. And now it has. So that's not great. So what I'm going to do, it doesn't say Jimmy Jacobs has poor chemistry with Zane Dawson. So I'm just, in the game, going to set Jimmy Jacobs to be the manager of Zane Dawson, not Dave Dawson. Because that way he's still managing the both of them. Unless they have singles matches, but they rarely ever do. So that sucks, but it's an easy enough workaround for now. Devon comes out after the match to address Jimmy Jacobs' ultimatum from the last show. He says that the FPW board are happy to renegotiate talent's contracts when they feel it is earned. The Dawsons are already two of the highest earning members of the FPW roster, and the board won't give in to the greed. However, Jimmy was right in his observation of the contract terms, so Devon is here to sweeten the deal. If the Dawsons agree to put the tag titles on the line in a 4-way match at the anniversary show, then Devon will personally see to it that the IWTV Tag Team Championships are on the line as well, meaning the Dawsons will have more gold to potentially take home. Jimmy discusses it briefly with the Dawsons, trying to warn them of all the potential outcomes with this deal, but Dave and Zane are hearing none of it. They want the gold. So on their behalf, Jimmy accepts the challenge, but he warns Devon that it would still be wise of him to renegotiate, because when Dave and Zane don't get what they want, they get angry, and when they get angry, they get violent. So what they're going to do to their opponents at the anniversary show is going to be anything but pretty. So it's official, we will have a 4-way tag team match at the anniversary show, which will be for both the FPW Tag Team Championships and the IWTV Tag Team Championships. The IWTV titles are currently held by Fresh Air, Junior Benito, and McCray Martin, who we've seen in FPW before. We've booked them before. I believe it was the Team 3D Invitational. But they weren't the tag champs until recently. They just won it back off someone. I don't remember who it was. You know, interesting to note that Dave and Zane just kind of weren't listening to Jimmy during this. They were just like, yes, we want the IWTV belts, make it happen. So if it does turn out that Jimmy doesn't work well with Zane either, we have that built in, like, oh, they won't listen to me, whatever the case may be. Because this is not a case of loyalty, like, they're not loyal to Jimmy Jacobs or anything. It's a mutually beneficial agreement. In a good match, Jack Evans defeated Chaz McKenzie in 10-22 by pinfall with a 630 senton. Not a lot to say here, just a momentum-based match. In a good match, Robin Renegade defeated Johnnie Robbie in 11:02 by submission after interference from Charlotte Renegade. Charlotte is not to say that Charlotte was like backstage. Charlotte was Robin's manager, but still got involved. After the match, the Renegade twins continue to deliver a beatdown to Johnny, targeting her right knee, which leaves her screaming in agony. Zeta Zhang eventually comes out to make the save, but Charlotte and Robin flee the ring before she can lay a hand on them. As Zeta checks on Johnny, Charlotte takes the microphone and accepts Zeta's challenge from the previous show for a tag team match. It's blatantly obvious that the Renegades are only accepting after injuring Johnny in a cowardly tactic. So there will be a tag team match at the anniversary show, but they made sure Johnny was hurt, Johnny was messed up before they said yes to the challenge, just to increase their odds. Main event time, in an exceptional match, Stephen Wolf defeated John Skyler in 14:53 by pinfall with a treaty breaker following interference from Exodus Prime. Stephen Wolf wins the FPW World title. 61 rating might be our best match ever, if I'm not mistaken, but I want to clarify something. When I say interference from Exodus Prime, I didn't quite know how exactly to book it in the like match booking section, but essentially what I wanted to have happen was John Skyler goes for another dirty tactic. Maybe he's about to use a weapon while the referee is like knocked out or something. Exodus Prime comes in to make the save, because we don't really use faces and heels, but essentially Stephen Wolf and Exodus Prime are the good guys in this scenario. John Skyler is not. So Exodus, his interference is not directly interfering on John Skyler, but it's interfering to stop John Skyler from doing something bad, just like he did last month, even though it was just kind of a roll-up pin or whatever the case was. I already forget. But that's what happens here. So that's 2 back-to-back matches in this best-of-3 series where there is not a clean winner. Stephen Wolf stands tall after regaining the FPW World Championship with his tag team partner Exodus Prime by his side. Elijah Burke steps up from the commentary desk and says that he's just received a message from the FPW board. They say that the world title should be treated with dignity and respect. They were happy to indulge the best of 3 series idea, but this needs to end with a clean, decisive winner. So if Wolf and Skyler can't conclude things that way on their own, then the board will make sure it happens. The final match at the 3rd anniversary show will officially be inside a steel cage. So, a couple things to note here. Steel cage. Last time we did a stipulation for the world title, it was a ladder match, and people complained about it based on our product. I have not checked to see if a steel cage will work with our product. I am willing to take the risk. So hopefully it works. Now, Elijah Burke is not on the board. He is a commentator. The reason I chose him is because Devon and James Storm have already had talking segments. Vinny Massaro is not working for us anymore, so he's not a board member anymore. Out of Devon and James, Devon's an okay talker, James is a great talker, but again, James has already been here, so I could have used him, but I was like, you know what, Elijah Burke is a good talker too. It makes sense that the board would just get him to deliver the message. So I was like, that's going to be a good segment. Obviously it was not. And so that's probably going to bring down the overall show rating, which sucks, but it is what it is. What can you do? Let's just take a look, I guess. You know what? Actually, 51. 51 is great because 55 is our best. So that increased our pop in 18 regions. Very happy about that. Address the locker room. I'm going to continue the trend on John Skyler. I didn't see the specifics of Stephen Wolf and John Skyler's performances there. I probably should have paid attention to that. But I want to continue the trend on John Skyler because he has been amazing lately. And then Paul London, we need to try and improve the morale of. Seemed pleased, was pleased with your speech. Financial report, we gained 1.8k, we're making good money. Speaking of money, I'm going to upgrade some production values just based on how well we're doing. Maybe only one thing though, because production values are the main thing that will change or cause a promotion to suddenly start losing money like crazy. Popularity recap. Okay, so we're at 34. So at this point, I could save the anniversary event for the next episode and have one more event before the anniversary, meaning that the anniversary is the first show where we're small size, which means we get higher attendance, higher viewership, all that. But considering, like I said before, I'm going to be taking a break from FPW episodes for a while, I think it would be more fitting if we do the anniversary event in this episode while we're still at tiny size, so that once we pick the show back up after my break, that's the kind of launching point when now it's small size and that's where we kind of get things started. I feel like that's our best course of action. Alright, heading back to the main screen as per usual. If there's anything for me to show you, I will. If not, I will see you guys at the 3rd anniversary. Okay, so we are really close to the 3rd anniversary show now, but as you can see in the top left corner, we have now entered the year of 2029, which means it is time for our end of year awards once again. So I thought I'd stop and have a look at these before we get to the anniversary show. I made sure when I clicked the end of year awards, I made sure that to close my eyes just enough so that because the first category that pops up is usually male wrestler of the year. I want to avoid seeing it so I could see everything for the first time with you guys. So I went straight to the end because male ref of the year, of course it's Justin Borden. So Justin Borden wins again. All right, let's have a look and see. Male color commentator, well, it has to be Elijah Burke. Oh, no, okay, yeah, no, that makes sense. Todd Kennelly is both play-by-play and color. Okay, my mind just went straight to Kennelly for play-by-play, Elijah for color, but I was wrong. So then play-by-play will be Todd Kennelly. Yes, okay. Match card of the year. Now, this will have to be either night of the Ultimate 8 series. Yes, it was night 2. Okay, good stuff. Very happy with that. Yeah, certainly not going to complain there. Match of the year, Stephen Wolf and John Skyler at 38. So that was the last one. That was the one where Stephen Wolf won back the world title with Exodus Prime's help. 61 rating. A previous best was a 52. That's okay. That's crazy. Well, of the previous year, I mean, obviously we've had better matches in 2028, but that's cool. Veteran wrestler. I don't know if we've had veteran wrestler before. Ryan Davidson is listed as veteran wrestler. Okay. 43. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Male tag team, the Dawsons. Okay, it does still confuse me as to why TNT won last year, because they were not great performers, but the Dawsons winning this time, that absolutely makes sense. Okay, final 2. Female wrestlers. So far, it's only ever been Zeta Zhang. I think that is still going to be the case. Dolce Tormenta. Okay. Alright, sure. It is possible, because minimum of 10 matches. It's possible Zeta didn't have 10 matches this year. Dolce absolutely got booked more because we wanted to improve her morale pretty frequently after we fired Madman Fulton. So that makes sense when you have that context. But Dolce is like bottom 2 or 3 performing wrestlers on the roster, so that's kind of crazy. Male Wrestler of the Year. I feel like it's going to be Stephen Wolf. I think Stephen Wolf's going to take it for the second year in a row, because it was Sonico the first time around, and then it was Stephen Wolf. So let's have a look. John Skyler. Okay, wow. All right. You know what? That makes me happy. That makes me very happy. Yeah, all right, well, there you go. Those are the end of year awards. I'm going to keep simulating until the anniversary show. I said at the start of the episode that I was going to record each of the shows separately just because I don't have the time, but I'm now that I'm mid-recording, I'm like hooked. I want to keep going, so I'm doing that, even though it's now almost 1 in the morning. So I'm sticking through with it. I'm going to get to the 3rd anniversary show. For me, it'll probably take another hour or so until I'm ready to record the anniversary show, but you guys are just about to see it here in a second. So I'm going to stop wasting your time. Let's get to it. And it is finally here, the 3rd anniversary show for FPW. I'm so excited. There's not a lot of storylines going on in this. It's just kind of the conclusion to the stories that we've been building up over the past couple episodes, really, but particularly this episode. So it's mostly just matches. We have 802 people in the, I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm going to say Cervantes Masterpiece Ballroom. This ballroom has a capacity of 900, but it was saying I had an expectation of like 760. So it was either go generic location, which I never really want to do, or I could jump up to the 900 seat location or go back to 650. So I just went with the 900. So we're still 100 people short, but it doesn't really matter. This is our highest attendance by an extra like 150. So it's all good. In a pre-show bout that had a decent reaction from the crowd but terrible wrestling, Travis Thomas and Andre Combs defeated Barrett Brown and Gino Medina in 5:32 when Travis Thomas pinned Gino Medina with a mercenary charged big foot. 27. Nice to see some improvements from Andre and Travis. Still not great, but their ring rust is gone. So yeah, just continuing this method here. I kind of didn't want to go with Barrett Brown and Gino Medina because I do think they're both quite good if we get the ring rust off of them. But there's not really a spot for them on the roster, so who cares if we just sign them to drop them out. Anyways, let's get on to the main card. This is the official 3rd anniversary show. Let's take a look. In a good match, Jack Evans defeated Ace Perry, Trey Lamar, Lowrider, and Dolce Tormenta in 12-14 when he pinned Trey Lamar with a 630 senton. A 50 rated segment is awesome. I just really wanted to have this kind of high octane exhibition in a way. That's just, I don't know, that was just kind of what I was feeling. I thought it would make for a really good match, and it did. I'm very happy with how it all turned out. I will also say this is going to be a very expensive show because I've booked everyone. There is no one left off the show. I've even brought in some other people. So yeah, it's going to be an expensive one. Plus I upgraded the production values to level 2. So I think that was 500 for the upgrade, and then like I think 500 monthly and 150 per show. Or maybe those last two numbers are switched. I don't remember. Either way, it's going to be a bit pricier, but we can afford it, I believe. In a good match, the Von Erichs defeated TNT in 10:56 when Marshall Von Erich pinned Terrence Hughes with a moonsault. Marshall Von Erich carried the match as expected. A 37, not that great. Terrell Hughes broke his fingers. That explains a big chunk of it. But yeah, not a great match at all. These teams have never fought directly. They were both in the Team 3D Invitational. So they've fought there, but that's the only time they've been in the ring together. So yeah, kind of a disappointing match, but it's not an important match. So it is what it is. In an exceptional match, Alex Zane defeated Sonico in 14:01 by pinfall with a 630 senton. Alex Zane makes defense number 17 of the IWTV World title. 56 segment rating is awesome. So the context here is I just wanted to have this match. I thought this would be an awesome match. Alex Zane is an incredible performer in this save. And in real life, obviously, Sonico, one of our best ever for FPW. I just want to do this match, so the lore I've kind of built is just, it was announced online. As you know, I've said many times before, we're not going to do backstage segments or things like that. So just between now and the previous show, it was like an online like release, press release, whatever, that Alex Zane would be back in FPW, this time defending the IWTV World title against Sonico, and I'm very, very happy we managed to make this happen because Alex Zane was pissed with us for making him lose the Ultimate 8 series. Like, he's still angry, but he can't refuse if we want to borrow the world title. He has to come along with it. It would have been cool to have Sonico win. It would have been very beneficial because then he could go to other promotions and gain popularity and whatnot. But I don't think it would have been the right call just because there was no build up to this. It was just kind of a, I want this match to happen, so it's going to happen. So, yeah, as much as I would have loved Sonico to win, he was never going to win. In a bout that had great wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd, the Dawson brothers defeated Paul London and Cal Jack, Fresh Air, and Kid Lycos and Mark Andrews in 11:03 when Zane Dawson pinned McRae Martin. The Dawson brothers win the IWTV tag titles and retain the FPW tag team titles on their third defense. So, this is the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match. You've got the Dawsons defending the FPW titles. You've got Fresh Air defending the IWTV titles. You've got Paul London and Cal Jack thrown in there because they've been on a good run. That's why I've been giving them so many wins lately. Plus, they've never lost as a team before. And then Kid Lycos and Mark Andrews, I don't believe are usually a team, but they are representing North Wrestling, the company that we own in the UK. So I just thought this would be such a fun mix. Everyone has a reason to be there. Yeah, just good stuff. 51 rated segment. The Dawsons now hold 2 tag titles. Dave Dawson and Jimmy Jacobs are an awkward pairing. I forgot to take Jimmy Jacobs off of Dave Dawson, but that is okay. I'll try and remember to do that after this. In a bout that had good heat and decent wrestling, Alpha Zoe won a battle royal in 12:47. The order of elimination was Martin Kirby, representing North Wrestling first, then Chris Danger on a local work deal, then Grado, representing North, then Ryan Davidson, Ruben Steele, Rachel Rose, Shazza McKenzie, Exodus Prime, Bianca Corelli, who is FPW's newest signing, Eric Young, who this is his retirement match. He's having a guest spot on his way out. Then Vipress, then Promise Braxton, then Raymond Rowe, who's on a local worker deal, but he's returning from the Ultimate 8 series. And finally, Guillermo Rosas. So I picked Alphazo to be the winner. I didn't pick anything else. I didn't select the order in any capacity. I just chose the winner. But Alphazo officially wins the Cowboy Cup Battle Royal. As I said in the last event, this isn't like a trophy. This is an achievement. This isn't a #1 contendership. This is just a showcase. This is prove your worth. And Alphazo has done just that. I said at the start of this episode, there was a storyline I really wanted to run, but I couldn't because the person that I needed to sign for it was taking way too long to sign the contract. And that was Eric Young. Eric Young would have had a 3-show storyline if he had signed in time, but he didn't. So I'm just throwing him into this Battle Royal. Obviously some ring rust there. I knew that was going to happen, but for this Battle Royal, I don't really mind that. It's not a huge deal. And about that had great wrestling and good heat. Johnnie Robbie and Zeta Zhang defeated the Renegade Twins in 11:24 when Johnnie Robbie pinned Robin Renegade. So obviously this isn't really something I could book into the match, I don't think. But the narrative is Johnny fighting through the knee injury. It's largely a handicap match, but Johnny is like, no, get me into the match. And she gets in there and the Renegades just target the knee and like mess with her. And so it's a kind of claw back to the top kind of victory for Johnnie Robbie. So this time last year at the 2nd anniversary show, Johnny was getting the win over Zeta Zhang in a massive upset. This time they unite as a team to take down the Renegade Twins. Okay, so next is the main event. Steel Cage, the final match in the best of 3 series. Stephen Wolf, John Skyler, World Championship on the line. This is a classic Steel Cage match, so it's not like an escape the cage. It's a you're locked in the cage. Win by pinfall or submission. You don't go over the top and escape. It's just you're locked in. A 64 segment rating. Holy shit. In an exceptional match, John Skyler defeated Stephen Wolf in a cage match in 14:52 by pinfall with the spoiler alert. John Skyler wins the World Championship. 64. Is that the best match we've had? I think that's the best match we've had. I'll have to double check. But obviously, Skyler won the title briefly at the start of the best of 3 series, but now that it's all over, Skyler is officially the world champion. There was no interference, there was no dirty tactics, it's all in a steel cage. Skyler wins. John Skyler stands tall over Stephen Wolf as the brand new FPW World Champion. As the steel cage begins to raise, Jimmy Jacobs and the Dawson brothers start to make their way out. Skyler looks perplexed. Why are the tag team champions sticking their nose in world title business? Jacobs congratulates Skyler on an impressive victory, but he reminds everyone what he said at the last show. When the Dawsons are angry, they get violent. Their opponents found that out firsthand earlier. But since the board didn't want to renegotiate, they're not done putting roster members on the shelf. Dave and Zane get into the ring, Skyler looking ready to defend himself, but everything changes when Skyler signals towards Stephen Wolf. The Dawsons lock onto Wolf and give him a beatdown even worse than what he received in the cage match. Finally, they prep him up for Skyler to put the nail in the coffin with a devastating attack of his finishing move, the spoiler alert. Skyler and the Dawsons stand over what's left of Wolf as Jacob says that you're all looking at a group of guys who will show no remorse. This new faction's name echoes throughout the Masterpiece Ballroom as the 3 champions hold their titles high to bring FPW's 3rd year to a close. So there you have it. That's how we are ending the 3rd year of FPW. I was really hesitant about putting a segment at the end. The final thing in the show can be a massive game changer for the overall rating, and obviously 44, far worse than what the main event was, but storyline wise, this is where I want to go with FPW. No Remorse is a faction that I've had in mind for FPW for I don't even know how many episodes now, but it was a slow burn to get to this stage. I'm very happy that we're here now. I'm very happy with this group. I know who I want to add to the group. And I'm hoping everything pans out well. I did have to look up to see if there was a faction in wrestling already with the name No Remorse, because like it makes no sense. There was the No Remorse core with Roderick Strong, Davey Richards, and Rocky Romero. And honestly, looking that up and finding that result brought back memories that I haven't thought about in well over a decade. I forgot the No Remorse core was ever a thing, but it's 3 amazing wrestlers. So I'm very glad that nostalgia trip happened. But either way, that's the No Remorse core. We're here to focus on No Remorse. John Skyler, the Dawsons, Jimmy Jacobs, holding all the gold in FPW. We get a 56 overall rating. I'll have to double check, but I believe that is our best, because actually, yeah, no, that would be our best, because the Ultimate 8 Series at 55 was our best show before this. So we now have a new best card. Finish the show, let's address the locker room. So what I want to do is praise Alex Zane. Try and make him happy so that he's open to working with us again. But you can't change his morale by doing it just once. It has to be repeat. And we're not going to get him repeatedly. So I'm just going to continue what I've been doing. John Skyler, because he absolutely deserves it. And Paul London, because we need to fix his morale. Injury review. So Terrell Hughes broke his fingers. He's only going to be out for a week. That is fine. We lost $605. That is totally fine. Gained pop. We're now at small size. We have officially upgraded our size, which I'm very happy about. I'm going to head back to the main screen. We're going to look at whatever's going on there. And then we'll bring things to a close. This is going to be the longest episode by far. I don't know, after I've cut this down, I don't know what the timestamp's going to be. But as of the recording time, we're over an hour in. So yeah, long episode, but worth it. Because like I said, there will be a bit of a break after this one. So I'm glad to kind of send it out this way for the time being. Either way, I'll see you guys back on the main screen. 3rd anniversary report. The feedback has been awesome. The small company has outshone some of the bigger companies' recent efforts. You'll love to see it. So, we are now small size. Injury, viewing figures. Not our most viewed show though. Because, yeah, 7.3. Okay, so not our most viewed show. So, Devon has morale issues. Being left off of 3rd anniversary. Did I just not, like, did I not let him road agent a match? Because I generally, other than like the main events and stuff, I tend to just let the game just give whoever out of the road agents. We're now small size, so we now have to, oh, this is going to be a problem, isn't it? TNA we're losing to across the board. That's going to suck. Oh, production, yeah, this is not going to be great. So I haven't upgraded the IWTV deal yet because I wanted to kind of evaluate our options moving forward. So if I just do coverage in Mid-South, so we're currently getting tiny in Mid-South, so small AMC, what would that require? High quality production. Okay, so the minimum popularity requirements are gonna be the worst ones to get. Okay, yeah, so generally speaking, it looks like if I want to get a better broadcast deal, I want to get roughly the 40s across most American regions, which, as you can tell, is going to take a hot while. So I think for now, I'm just going to renew the IWTV deal. Because if I just go, we'll negotiate. These are our only options right now. It's free to air internet, so YouTube is not ideal at the moment. And then these two are both internet subscription, but IWTV gets us more reach. It gives us Canada as well. So I'm just going to renegotiate. What's my current on demand? So I can only do on demand. Yeah, because it's an internet thing. That makes sense. All right, extend deal. We'll do another 6 months. Get another 5% out of it too. All right, we're locked in for another TV deal. This is the thing that's really going to concern me, though. This is what our finances are looking like at the end of the third year of FPW. Keeping in mind that was an intentionally expensive show that we just ran, and production costs are about to go up quite a bit more. But overall, I have faith that we will benefit from these changes. The reason I'm kind of concerned is I've never been in a situation where it tells me to upgrade my production values because someone's outshining me in that regard. I've never been in that situation and had it go well for me. Like, the repercussions are always quite strong. So I'm going to need to bump up my production values ASAP, but I'm not going to do it right now. I'm going to do it when we come back from our break and we come back with episode 17. So with that, we're going to call it here. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. Don't forget, even though the next episode might be weeks or months away, whatever it might be, I still want to hear from you guys. I want to hear your input. I want to hear your ideas. Anything. Like, the interaction is my favorite thing about this series. I am now up at 2:15 in the morning recording this, so I'm going to head to bed, finally. But thank you guys. I do appreciate you all being here, and I will see you all next time.